Treatment for multiple sclerosis. The therapy for multiple sclerosis can be divided into different categories. Number first, treatment of acute attacks. Number second is the treatment with disease modifying agents that reduce the biological activity of multiple sclerosis. And number third is the symptomatic therapy. There are three categories for the treatment of multiple sclerosis. Number first is the treatment of acute attack. Treatment of acute attack. When the patient experiences the acute deterioration, it is important to consider whether this change reflects new disease activity or there is pseudo exacerbation resulting from an increase in the ambient temperature, fever or infection. When the clinical change starts to reflect a pseudo exacerbation, glucocorticoid treatment is inappropriate. Glucocorticoid is used to manage either first attacks or acute exacerbation. Glucocorticoids. The glucocorticoids are used in the first attack. The glucocorticoid treatment is inappropriate in the pseudo exacerbation. This is inappropriate in the pseudo exacerbation. Pseudo exacerbation. It is inappropriate in the pseudo exacerbation. Glucocorticoids are used to manage either first attack or acute exacerbation. These glucocorticoids are used either in the first attack or acute exacerbation. They are not used in the chronic therapy, the chronic cases. They are used in the acute attack and acute exacerbation, and they are insufficient in the pseudo exacerbation. The glucocorticoid provides short-term clinical benefits by reducing the severity and shortening the duration of attacks. The glucocorticoids reducing the severity. It reduces the severity of disease in acute attack. In acute attacks. It also shortening the duration of acute attack. Whether the treatment provides any long-term benefits on the course of the illness is less clear. The long-term treatment of glucocorticoid treatment is less clear. This is unclear, less clear that these benefits are not. This is less clear. Therefore, a mild attack are often not treated. Mild attack are not treated by glucocorticoids. The physical and occupational therapy can help with the mobility and manual dexterity. Physical and occupational therapy are beneficial at the early onset. The glucocorticoid treatment is usually administered as intravenous methylprednisolone in acute attacks, not the pseudo exacerbation or not the mild cases. The glucocorticoids are used in the acute attack. Glucocorticoids glucocorticoids are used in acute attack, not in the pseudo exacerbations. Normally, the glucocorticoids methylprednisolone we give. Methylprednisolone we give mostly intravenous at the early. The dose of the methylprednisolone is 500 to 1 gram per day. 500 mg to 1 gram per day for acute attacks. They either with taper are followed by course of oral prednisolone at the beginning at the dose of 60 to 80 mg. We give methylprednisolone IV or either oral methylprednisolone 60 to 80 mg per day orally. We can also give the oral formulation of methylprednisolone for acute attacks. This is not for the chronic attack. This is used for the duration of 2 weeks. For the 2 weeks, this glucocorticoids is used for acute attacks, not for chronic attacks. The prednisolone or dexamethasone has equivalent dosages can be used in almost all cases. The side effect of short-term glucocorticoids include fluid retention, potassium loss, weight gain. The side effect is fluid retention, weight loss, not weight loss, weight gain in the potassium. This is the fluid retention, weight gain, and potassium loss. Potassium loss also occur as a side effect of potassium loss, is a side effect of glucocorticoids. There is also gastric disturbance. Gastric disturbance due to the use of glucocorticoids. The emotional lability may also occur. The emotional lability is a side effect also occur as a result of the use of glucocorticoids. So we use a low salt and potassium rich diet. So we advise the patient to use the low salt and potassium rich diet. Low salt is salt low and potassium rich diet, because the glucocorticoids lacks the potassium. So low potassium, so the potassium rich diet may be used in these cases. And we advise the patient to avoid potassium wasting diuretics. The potassium wasting diuretics must be contraindicated. Potassium wasting diuretics must be indicated, but the glucocorticoids we use for the acute attack, not the pseudo exacerbation. This is only for acute attack. This is the initial acute attack treatment. So there is emotional lability. The lithium carbonate 300 mg orally BD may help to manage the emotional lability. The lithium carbonate 300 mg BD may be used for the emotional lability. What is lithium carbonate? Lithium carbonate is the mainstay of treatment for the bipolar disorder. So this can be used in these cases. 300 mg BD. The side effect of lithium carbonate is seizures and gait disturbance. So we must do the serum lithium level every weekly. The patient, if the patient cannot arrange the serum lithium level every weekly, so we cannot give the lithium. There is maybe also insomnia associated with glucocorticoids. The peptic ulcer disease, that is gastritis, may be developed. In cases of gastritis, we give the omeprazole, cimetidine, or other anti-acid drugs. There is gastritis, peptic ulcer disease. So we give for this disease is omeprazole. 40 mg BD or cimetidine. Cimetidine is the symptomatic treatment. Cimetidine has no effects, irreversible effects of the hydrogen pump. The side effect of cimetidine, overuse of the cimetidine, is gynecomastia. Gynecomastia. We can also use the ranitidine 50 mg BD. We can also use the ranitidine. The ranitidine is 150 mg BD. May be used for the peptic ulcer disease. Pantoprazole, omeprazole can also be used. The plasma exchange, 5 to 7 exchange, that is 40 to 60 ml per kg per exchange, may be used for 14 days. Plasma exchange may be used. Plasma exchange can be done 40 to 60 ml per 40 to 60 per ml per kg for initial 14 days. May be used for the side effect of the glucocorticoid, that is peptic ulcer disease. This is called fluid retention. But the plasma exchange is costly. The plasma exchange is costly. This plasma exchange is costly. This is costly. This is costly. This is the initial treatment management for acute attack. Now we will discuss the advanced treatment of the multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis have 3 types of treatment. First is for acute attack. The acute attack treatment is glucocorticoids, and for second number is the symptomatic treatment. For the symptomatic treatment we have another lecture, that is the symptomatic treatment of multiple sclerosis. Now we will discuss the advanced treatment. Advanced treatment of multiple sclerosis. This is the advanced treatment of multiple sclerosis. Now we will discuss the advanced treatment of multiple sclerosis. So the advanced treatment of multiple sclerosis include the interferon beta. Interferon beta. The interferon beta can be given in the advanced treatment of multiple sclerosis. This is the moderately effective, not high effective. This is moderately effective multiple sclerosis. Moderately effective in the multiple sclerosis. Now we will discuss the interferon. The interferon beta, that is INF beta. Interferon beta. The interferon beta is a class 1 interferon. This is the class 1 interferon. That is INF1. Interferon beta class 1. This is the class 1 interferon. They originally identified by its antiviral properties. This interferon beta has antiviral properties. Antiviral properties. So what is the action of interferon beta in multiple sclerosis? Now we will be discussed. The interferon beta, beside the antiviral properties, the efficacy in multiple sclerosis is results from the immunomodulatory properties. That is also has immunomodulatory properties. Immunomodulatory properties. This interferon beta has also immunomodulatory properties. It modulates the immune system we have discussed that the multiple sclerosis is a autoimmune disease. So this interferon beta, this is immunomodulates the immune system. This is modulate change the immune system. Mechanism is by the down regulation expression of MHC molecules on the antigen present in cell. Mechanism of action of interferon beta now we will discuss. What is the interferon beta? Mechanism of action in the multiple sclerosis. The interferon beta down regulates the expression of the MHC molecules on the antigen present in cell. It down regulate. It down regulate the MHC protein on the antigen present in cell. It down regulate the MHC protein on the antigen present in cell. It also reducing the pro-inflammatory and other regulatory cytokines levels. It reduces the cytokine levels. The interferon beta reduce the cytokine level. The cytokine levels are produced in the multiple sclerosis and the effects of the demyelinating disease of the myelin sheaths. So it attacks on myelin sheaths. So it reduces the cytokines. It reduces the cytokines. It also inhibits the T cell proliferation. This interferon beta also inhibits the T cell proliferation. What is the T cell mechanism in the multiple sclerosis? The T cell attacks in the multiple sclerosis. The T cell attack on the myelin sheath. So it inhibits the T cell proliferation. This is the mechanism of action. It also limits the trafficking of inflammatory cells in the CNS. In the multiple sclerosis, there is the inflammatory cells in the CNS. Their effects of the myelin sheaths and axons of the neuron. So it limits the inflammatory cells. Limits the inflammatory cells are the inflammatory process. Inflammatory process. It limits the inflammatory process. Interferon beta reduces the attacks rate and slow the accumulation of disability. It also slows the accumulation of these aggregates. It also reduces the rate of disability because it reduces the cytokines. It inhibits the T cell proliferation. It limits the pro-inflammatory cytokine process. It also reduces the rate of disability. Now we will discuss the brands of interferon. Brands of interferon. Interferon beta. Interferon beta. Interferon beta. The interferon beta limiting the attacks of inflammatory cell in the CNS. The interferon beta reduces the attacks rate and slow the accumulation of disability. In the MRI documented disease burden, the interferon beta should consider to the patient with either in the relapsing form of multiple sclerosis or the progressive form of multiple sclerosis. Head-to-head trial suggests that the interferon beta is more frequently in high doses has better efficacy, but also more likely to induce the neutralizing antibodies. It also induces the neutralizing antibody. Interferon beta 1. Now we will discuss the interferon beta 1A. Interferon beta 1A. Interferon beta 1A. The brand name is Eonix. The Eonix. Normally we give 30 microgram. Normally we give 30 microgram Eonix. This is interferon beta 1A. In the multiple sclerosis we give Eonix 30 microgram. This Evonex in the 30 microgram we give to the patient of multiple sclerosis. It is administered in the intramuscular injection once weekly. Every week we inject through the intramuscular injection. We inject it through the intramuscular injection every weekly. The interferon beta 1A for the multiple sclerosis. We also have interferon beta 1A other brand Rebit. Interferon 1 beta A also brand name is Rebit. What is the dosage of Rebit and the site of administration? The Rebit we administered by the subcutaneous injections 3 times per week, and the dosage is 44 microgram. We give the Rebit 44 microgram subcutaneously. 44 microgram subcutaneously injection 3 times per week. This can be given 3 times per week. Interferon beta 1B can also be given. It is administered by the subcutaneous injection every other day at the alternative day. The other interferon is interferon beta 1B. Other is interferon beta 1B. Interferon beta 1B. The interferon beta 1B can also be administered. The brand name is Vetseron or Extavia. Vetseron or Extavia. Vetseron. This is the brand name. Our other name is Extavia. This can also be given. This is the interferon 1B. Interferon 1B, Vivetson or Extavia. The dosage is 250 microgram. Is administered subcutaneously injection at the alternative day. This dosage is 250 microgram at alternative day. At alternative day. 250 microgram at the alternative day. This is administered there is also the pegylated interferon beta 1A. It is an interferon to which a single linear 2000 Dalton methoxy polyethyl glycol methylpropionate molecule is covalently attached. The pegylated molecule contribute to reduce in the clearance following less frequent administration. The other doses pegylated interferon beta 1A. Pegylated interferon beta 1A. Pegylated beta interferon 1A. 1A. Pegylated interferon beta 1A can also be given in the cases of multiple sclerosis. What is the side effects of the interferon 1 beta? Now we will discuss the side effect of interferon 1 beta. This is the modestly or moderately effective. The side effect of the interferon 1 beta therapy include flu-like symptoms, that is fever, chills and myalgia. There is flu-like symptom. Flu-like symptom. This include myalgia, fever, chills and myalgia. These are the side effects of the interferon. And mild abnormalities occur, that is laboratory evaluation, that is elevated liver function tests, that also elevated liver function test, LFT. Elevated the LFT can also occur. हेपेटोटॉक्सिसिटी में आकर, हेपेटोटॉक्सिसिटी में आकर, हेपेटोटॉक्सिसिटी टॉक्सिसिटी में आकर बाय द interferon 1 beta A. So this is the less common side effect. The pain, redness, induration, really अगर pain